Views expressed by Casters Guild members are only the opinions of that member, and that could change from day to day. Guild members may use mature language, but that in no way means they are mature. Listener discretion is advised.
Are you troubled by strange noises in the middle of the night?
Do you experience feelings of dread in your basement or attic?
Have you or any of your family ever seen a spook, specter, or ghost?
I'm Guildmaster Rick.
I'm Guildmaster Baron.
And I'm guild member Kimmie.
We're ready to believe you.
Thank you for tuning in tonight's episode of Casters Guild. I am your Guildmaster and Class 5 full roaming Spectre, Rick Perry.
And I am your Guildmaster, Baron Kane, who is a god.
And joining us as a returning guild member, feel free to introduce yourself.
And I'm Kimmie Howard, and I collect spores, molds, and fungus.
Nice. And in case you didn't read the title or you can't guess by all those references, we're talking Ghostbusters tonight.
Oh, I was just saying things.
So we can go ahead and start with what's your favorite? Who's your favorite Ghostbuster?
Oh, Lord. I don't know. I honestly like all of them. And also, too, okay, since this is so open, are we, like, talking about the...
The answer is yes.
The expanded...
The answer is yes.
Because I was like, yeah, because like, we throw in, you've got the original four guys, you've got the four Ghostbusters from the 2016 one, we've got the Extreme Ghostbusters. They've all been good. I mean, every time that they've done a new version of it, like, the whole focus has been, like, making an actual team, and I think every team works. Even in the comic books where they're, like, you know, just having completely original characters and stuff, they've always... One of them is... I can't remember the character's name, but he's actually based on Chevy Chase. And was like, yeah, he was like a pseudo antagonist, or like he was like trying to make a rival ghost busting company in the comics, and they based the look of the character and stuff off of Chevy Chase, since he was part of the whole like SNL, you know, Second City comedians and stuff that the original guys came from. So I mean, they've always kind of just had they've always put an interesting group together, even in the newest one. Honestly, with like the four kids and everything, I thought they actually they always make sure that they have a good dynamic, regardless of like everything else, all the characters and stuff. They always make like the team always works well from a writing and storytelling standpoint, and that's how I weasel out of having to say which individual Ghostbuster I like the best.
All right, so proton pack to your head if you had to choose one.
Or three, because we usually do top three.
Yeah, actually, yeah, we usually do a top three. Like, we'll say who's your favorite, and then it's like, well, this is who I like from this is who I like from this, and this is who I like from this.
Okay, so what you're saying is me weaseling out of it didn't work.
Correct.
Okay.
We've been doing this for too long now.
Okay, right, and you said proton pack to my head, so I'm going to lean over here so we can have the neutrino wand that I have in the background here actually pointing at my head.
No,
so,
yeah, no.
Nice
See,
little...
No, I was just letting you know that I have the proton pack, so it doesn't have any power right now.
Oh, nice, yeah, and that thing doesn't have any batteries in it too, so I'm like doubly safe. But it makes a nice little visual. Okay, I'd say honestly, number one is Ray, because I'm a huge fan of Dan Aykroyd, just as a actor and performer and everything. But the character being the heart of the Ghostbusters, and basically, he was. This is dorky as hell, but like he was the hefty one, and I can identify with that.
Sure.
But I mean,
I get it. I understand it completely.
Yeah. There you go. Yep. Exactly. You're like, okay, he's like. They, make him like the comical, the hefty one, but like he's a dork and he's so cool and like gets stuff done. He's not like some bumbling fool. Okay, so that's number one for sure. Is definitely a Ray fan. Somebody who's not me, go. Brad, who's your number one?
Well, you know what? I'll give you. I will say, I do have three characters that really spring to mind. The live action, definitely Ray. A lot for the same reasons that you've stated. He's the chubby guy, he's the not cool guy.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, you could argue that Egon is the not cool guy, but he's, like, super fucking smart. Not that any of them aren't fucking smart, but...
He's the nerd. Like, if you're looking at the tropes, like, he is the nerd, the geek, the smart one.
Yeah, and even, like, Egon and stuff. Egon is funny as hell, but it's because he's so deadpan and everything.
The straight man.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, Ray, like you said, he's the chubby funny guy who ends up running an occult shop in his later years. It's like, I mean, goals. Who wouldn't want a blowjob from a ghost? Wait, who wouldn't want an occult shop is what I said.
Right.
Yep.
Anyways.
Mood slime.
Then I would say that another of my favorites that really actually kind of was a big thing in my childhood, I would say Peter from the real Ghostbusters cartoon.
Okay.
I don't know why, but he really stuck out to me in the cartoon, and I think it was because he was Garfield.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder, is that why Bill Murray did the voice of Garfield?
It's funny how often those two actors have played the same characters.
Yeah, I think it's honestly was one of those weird coincidences, because what was it? Like, I think when they did the, like, midway through the run of the real Ghostbusters, when they changed a couple of the actors and stuff, his was one of the changes, and I think it was like Uncle Joey or whatever from Full House ended up voicing him for like the rest of the series.
Oh, you know what? I think you're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, well, and that's the thing that's even crazier, honestly, too, that, like, I didn't even know this until, like, a few years ago, but Arsenio Hall was originally the voice of Winston in the cartoons. Yeah. Like,
I didn't know that either.
Nobody freaking knows that. Nobody talks about that. Like, Arsenio Hall was the original voice of Winston. I think it was, like, I think actually he left when he got, when he started doing the Arsenio Hall show. Like, when he got his own show and had to devote his time to that. But, yeah, he was the original voice of Winston.
I was today years old.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And then, if I'm going to pick another one, and you just reminded me of this, I would say Kylie from the Extreme Ghostbusters.
Nice. I was wondering if they were going to come up, because that was, like, I remember watching that in high school, like it was on before school and everything, and I was, like, for years, the only person that, like, had heard of it. I loved it, because it was, like, all of a sudden, oh, hey, there's this, like, Ghostbusters cartoon that's, like, never heard any advertisements, anything. I just, like, stumbled across it one morning before school, and I was like, oh, crap, this has got to, like, keep going. And it was actually, it's a decent series. No,
it wasn't bad at all. It wasn't very, it was a little short-lived.
Yeah.
But it was, I thought the animation was great, the character design was great. Also, the voice of Kylie, Tara Strong.
Yeah.
You can't ever hate that.
It was definitely the most off the beaten path of all of the Ghostbusters. It definitely did its own thing. Not to say that each iteration of the Ghostbusters didn't, but it would be the one that you most believed took place in, like, its own universe that was separate from the others. Did not that make sense?
Say it again.
So it was the one that was, like, the most off the beaten path. Like, it was the least like the original, I guess, of any of the iterations of the Ghostbusters.
Yes. Oh, I mean, they went into... Well, I mean, I guess the real Ghostbusters did some stuff, but this Ghostbusters, I mean, from what I remember, I could be way wrong, but this Ghostbusters did some crazy shit. Like,
did. Like,
okay, good. I'm not just imagining that then.
No, it was like actually probably like the darkest and kind of edgiest of like all the series stuff. And because they did that trick of like they could kind of do almost anything and get away with it, because no matter what damage the ghost did, like once they captured it, it all got undone. So they could get away with a ton of stuff. Like no, actually, I think it was the first episode I ever saw. They essentially had the Cenobites from fucking Hellraiser was like a set of monsters on the Ghostbusters. Like they literally they were literally like the Cenobites, and they were into the whole like the sick like body modification stuff. everything, and they were like capturing people and turning them into monsters, but they got away with it because as soon as the Ghostbusters figured out how to stop them, everybody turned back to normal. So as long as all the damage got undone in the end, yeah, they could do some crazy stuff. I remember actually, and it was that was the series that they had the episode of the Riddle of the Sphinx, that classic, what walks on four legs in the morning.
Oh yeah.
That they had an episode with that, and Egon figured it out in 10 seconds and stuff. And I was like, and then after that, then I heard the riddle again, and I was like, oh, this is actually a thing. This is from Ghostbusters. No, it's actually a thing.
Way off subject, but on subject. How funny would it be if someone took like the trope, like the riddle of the Sphinx, and then like they put it into a modern movie that's set in modern times, and someone ran into the Sphinx? And he was like, you have to answer my riddle. And they're like, oh, okay. And he says the riddle, and it's like, isn't that
Did you get that from Ghostbusters?
Like, that's the same riddle, like from Oedipus, right? It's the only riddle I know.
That's...
Fuck, I don't remember it. I don't remember the answer.
Actually... It's great that you bring this up because they're actually on one of the D&D podcasts that I listen to, Rue Tales. That actually is a reoccurring thing.
Oh, stop!
No, seriously, they've encountered a couple of sphinxes, and it's actually kind of turned into a running gag. They know one riddle, and if you answer it before they finish it, because everybody knows the answer, they'll eat you. It pisses them off, and they'll eat you. You have to be polite and let them finish the riddle, and then you have to act like you have put effort into figuring it out.
That's actually hilarious.
I'm going to put that in a game where it's like no one is afraid of sphinxes because it's like as long as you let them finish, they'll be cool. It's like, oh yeah, they used to be real dangerous, but then everybody realized they only said the same riddle every time, and we just figured it out. Now we just teach our kids this in school, and everybody's fine.
Right, and even listening to the episode, you can kind of hear that I don't think the DM had planned for this because he's got his character setting up. Okay, in the next room we're gonna talk to the Sphinx. She'll tell you this riddle. Now you need to listen to it and, think about the answer. And one of the players just blurts out, "Is it man?" And you hear the DM just stop for a second and I mean, yes, but okay, you have to let her finish and everything is I mean, the riddle's dumb, but yeah, okay, but it's man, right? It's don't tell her that. Don't say any of that shit. She will kill everyone in the room. Yeah, it's great.
That is great.
Just, hey, and merits of Ghostbusters, you learn ancient Egyptian riddles.
I mean, that's where I first heard it, was on Ghostbusters, so...
Ancient Greek, actually.
Yeah.
It's Oedipus Rex, ancient Greek.
Okay.
What a weird mix that was.
Yeah. It all flowed together. It all made perfect sense. Okay,
I mean, it was a motherfucking good play. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
No, Rick, do not laugh. You will only encourage him.
I can't help it. I can't.
To your microphone and walk out of the room and stuff. Don't encourage him. He doesn't need this.
Okay, so my favorite Ghostbuster.
There you go. There you go.
Is Phoebe Spangler.
Okay, yeah.
And my second favorite is definitely Jillian Holtzman.
So you got a thing for women with glasses. All right, cool.
I mean, yeah, but you don't have to point that out. And I wouldn't say no. Phoebe is. I'm not saying I have a thing for Phoebe. Let me be clear.
No.
That's a child.
Right. That spiraled out incredibly quickly. My bad.
I do have a thing for women who lick weaponry, though. I will say that.
Okay. You have a thing for intelligent women. There you go.
That's definitely true.
Yeah, because I mean, they were both the Egon of their respective groups. They were both the, really smart gadgeteer character type for both of their
respective teams. Yeah. So speaking of Phoebe, what did we all think of the new movie?
Brad is slowly laughing at me. You go first.
I loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. No, I did. I liked it, but I am a nostalgia whore as well. It's like you get a movie that tickles my nostalgia, I will it will be soon become my favorite. That's why, when they did The Force Awakens, I was all over it. I loved The Force Awakens. Why? Because it tickled my nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how it is. That's why I'm going to love the Flash movie when it comes out, because it's going to tickle my nostalgia with a little bit of Michael Keaton Batman. It's that's just how it is. But I also think that they introduced some cool characters. I love, I've talked about this before in the DC show and in the Marvel show. I love teen superhero groups, and that's kind of what they just did here. They made a teen Ghostbuster group.
I didn't think about it that way, but you're absolutely correct.
And then, Winston stole their car, but that's okay. But
granted, that thing was a wreck anyway. I mean, that wasn't some Tokyo Drift. That was because the tires had dry rotted and stuff. That was a miracle that thing didn't come apart during the
right. Yeah, it was probably Ghost modified. They were literally driving the Ghost of Ecto-1. That's why it worked.
Right. It's like what's his face's car in Good Omens. It's just being held together by faith, and then it just immediately goes to pieces afterwards.
Right.
As soon as it's done, as soon as you're done needing to get where you're going to, it just literally goes into a pile of scrap.
Sounds like a really good another good D&D magic item. But anyways, and then also anything with Paul Rudd in it, I'm probably gonna like it. Paul Rudd, who plays Paul Rudd in everything he's in.
Yeah.
Same, except for Finn Wolfhard. Are you not a fan?
I'm trying to determine. You're saying you'll watch anything with Finn Wolfhard in it.
Exactly.
Got it.
And I get the sour face.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with the kid. What was he in before this? It wasn't Stranger Things. He was in Stranger Things, but I mean, he was in something else, I think.
He was in It.
It. That's what it was.
Okay.
And no offense to him, but I don't know. Maybe it was just hitting wrong in that.
I thought he did a good job at It. And, this just shows, once again, me being the Ninja Sex Party fan that I am. He also plays the younger version of Danny Sexbang in the Danny Don't You Know music video.
That's funny. But I now realize what he was in that I wasn't a fan of. It was the last season of Stranger Things. Because he's playing an older, emotional, angsty kid now. And it's just what happened to the kid that was in the... Oh, yeah, he's been through some shit. You know what I mean? But it's still I don't know if I like where this character's going. Even though it makes complete logical sense.
It's kind of like when everybody started hating Harry Potter as a character during Order of the Phoenix.
Yeah. It was Order... Right. I was about to say, it was Order of the Phoenix. That's the one where he turned into an asshole.
So it's let me get this straight. You're having trouble understanding how a character who is going through puberty and trauma at the same time changes? You don't understand that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's me. I don't understand.
Okay.
You understand it, you just don't like it. It's
but yeah. But
well, he's got 2 more seasons to turn it around too.
So. 2?
Yeah, they've got what is it? It's 4 and was it? I think they've the 5th season. Was it the 5th or the 6th season? They said they've only got a couple more seasons left that they're going to actually finish the show. Season 4 I think is the one that's getting split into 2 parts. That is coming soon. And then actually, I think now that I mention it, I think it is 5 seasons. Then the 5th season is going to be the final season of Stranger Things.
Okay. Wow, I didn't even know they were doing another season after the one they're working on now.
Yeah, I think it's because it's going to be the final season is the reason that they're setting it up that way. This is going to be the end of it, so they're kind of
weird to do a 5-season run. It's we're going to do 5 seasons and be done. It's okay. Yeah. You could have done 6 maybe. I don't know. But they got to end it at some point. And
before either people, they mess the show up and people don't want to watch it anymore, or Netflix just decides that we're just not gonna pull the plug on this show and it's gonna end up in limbo. But
I honestly feel like they were done after season 1, definitely done after season 2, but Netflix was like, this is too popular, you need to make more.
Yeah.
So you're saying I'm the only one that liked season 3?
I'm not saying I didn't like it. It was fine.
Season 3 was the mall one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved the 3rd one. I loved season 3.
honestly, season 2 was kind of like had some was a little hit or miss and stuff. Which actually, it was a month or two ago I finally got around to actually watching season 3, and it was like I ended up marathoning it because I was like, I got some time to kill. I'm doing laundry. I'll throw on a new one episode, and then it was like, oh holy shit, I got to keep watching this. I got to see what happens next, and it's like kept going and going and.
It's cool picking out all the weird like movie references they put into it too. Like it was heavy Indiana Jones in this one.
See, I wasn't even like looking at it on that level. Like even just what the hell did they call the thing? The main monster. Is it called?
It was the Mind Flayer.
Yes, I keep wanting to call it the Illithid because I'm a fucking nerd, but I'm like, that's not what they called it. They called it the other name that I can't remember.
The other thing.
The Mind Flayer thing. Like, that was, especially that bit, like, where they had all the people just, like, fucking melting into, poop and then, like, reforming into it and stuff. Like, that was so gross, and I loved every second of that. Like, that was so cool. And then, hey, Russians are bad guys again, so it was timely with the whole, the communists building the mall in the middle of America.
Right.
So it's just like, oh wow, this was uncomfortably accurate, but
no, it was really good. It was really good.
Yeah.
What is it with the? We're gonna get back to Ghostbusters eventually. I know it. But what's with David Harbour and Russians?
I don't. Oh my god! You know what? I didn't even put that together. Yeah, you're right. It's like.
It's like, okay,
there's gonna be some chode on a podcast that's putting together the thing of like, okay, so as soon as Stranger Things ended and stuff, when they had him over in Russia, that's how they made him the Red Guardian. It all fits, man.
Yep. They're like, all right, David, we're gonna go ahead and do this scene, and your character is going to get shipped to Russia, and then while you're there, you're gonna film the Black Widow. It's like, oh. Wait, are you shipping me to Russia? For real?
In a giant crate that says live actor this end up.
He's stuck in there with Chevy Chase.
Yeah. Actually, you know what? I'm not even joking. I would actually love to see him as the Red Guardian punching the shit out of the Demogorgon monster now.
I guarantee you that fan art exists somewhere. Like, we wouldn't even have to commission someone to make it. Like, that exists.
Yeah.
That would be a good one.
Even just like a quick like fan art or something of it. That would just be too awesome.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, so I liked it. What about you, Kimmie?
I didn't hate it.
Well, that's good.
How about this? Because I think having a critical lens placed on things is very important. What about it did you not enjoy, or you think they could have improved on?
Okay, here's the caveat that I will give. I think for what it was excellent. Problem I had, like, it had an uphill battle for me, basically after the first trailer came out. Because, like, when they did the initial announcement and stuff, it was like, oh yeah, they're doing a new Ghostbusters movie, and they had that, like, kind of teaser that didn't really show anything except for, like, okay, there's, like, it's going to be at, like, a farmhouse, and, somebody's working in the garage, and there's proton pack sound effects, and then the Ecto-1's under a tarp and everything. I was like, okay, I am all in. This sounds great. And then when the first trailer hit, and it's like, they're doing more Gozer stuff? Really?
Okay,
like,
but
didn't they exhaust this in the video game?
Oh, and just to let you know, everybody listening, spoilers.
Yeah.
Olivia Wilde is Gozer, though.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh God,
oh
yes.
no. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, that's why. Yeah, absolutely.
And
society is too sick to survive. Hail Gozer. Yeah, absolutely.
And the person that they got to do her voice, perfect.
Oh yeah, they nailed that. Like, and honestly, just like kind of the revamped look that they gave her, because like the original, they had her wrapped in that, like, for lack of a better term, basically like bubble wrap looking, like, kind of costume thing that she was in the original movie and stuff. And this one, how it had that weird, like, kind of crystalline, like almost exoskeleton look, and then they did the CG with like the light kind of pulsing around inside of her. Like that was sweet. Like that was very like they really played up the otherworldliness and stuff of it, which like, and that's why I say for what it was, like I would have much preferred that they didn't do a bunch of hey, remember the first movie. It's stuff that I feel like they kind of got a little overboard on that, but for what it was, like, yeah, they did an amazing job. And I mean, the amount of people that, like, honestly, it was the people that were, that basically treat the original as gospel. It was just a complete love letter to them. You see how much they loved it. And even, like, kind of the more casual people that were just like, oh, yeah, that's that Bill Murray with the ghost, and it's all funny, and, yeah, big deal, and a bunch of internet shitheads got all weird about it a few years ago when they remade it. And they're like, well, we'll go see it. Yeah, I kind of remember this and this happening in it. So, they enjoyed it on that level. And it's like, I'm kind of right in the middle where, yeah, I ended up making a fan film. Yeah, I know way more about this stuff than I should. But I'm like the second one a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I got that poster over my shoulder. But yes.
I will say before Afterlife came out, the second one was my favorite.
Yeah.
Hands down. So, yeah, I'm in complete agreement with you.
He is Vigo! You are like bugs to him.
Johnny, did you back the wrong horse?
I thought he was my favorite part of that movie, by the way.
Oh God, yeah.
100%.
I mean, just like Rick Moranis was probably my favorite part of the first one. But that should really tell you what I was really looking for in those movies. Yeah. Was just goofy, funny stuff.
Yeah. I'm real curious, like, because originally that part was supposed to be played by John Candy, right?
John, okay, I was trying to say something funny, but you mean Rick Moranis' part?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, all my love to John Candy. I mean, all of it. But I don't know. It would have been a completely different character if it was him. It would not have been.
It was because it was a completely different character. It was basically like the only thing that they kept in common, because when they made the original movie, like they actually shot it almost without a completed script. Like they had it. That's part of the reason, like, why there was so much improv and stuff in it, is because like they were, making changes and like still kind of trying to refine it, because that was kind of the caveat of being able to make the movie, was that like, okay, here's X amount of money, go make the movie. It's in theaters by the summer.
They didn't even know if they had the title when they were shooting that movie. There were several scenes they shot twice because they'd had the word Ghostbusters in the background, and they didn't know if they were going to be able to have that title. So they shot the scene twice, once with it saying Ghostbusters, and once with it saying something else. I forget what the other title was. It might have been Ghost Hunters or something like that. But yeah, they didn't even...
Smashers.
Yeah, but they didn't even have the title when they were shooting that movie.
I'm sorry, what was it again?
Ghost Smashers. Yep.
And their rival company, Ghost Passers.
Yeah.
They just...
Yep. I mean, it puts that scene with Ray and the ghost chick into a whole other context, doesn't it?
Smash.
But yeah, they definitely had a completely different idea for Rick Moranis' character. Rick Moranis made the character that it basically, Rick Moranis was like, no, I'm going to play it this way. And then they liked it so much that they were like, yep, play it that way.
At that point, Rick Moranis, too, was he was an accomplished actor in and of its own right at that point in time, right? Wasn't he in, and God Forgive Me, Canadians, he was on that, essentially the SNL for Canada, right?
Yeah, the Second City.
Second City, that's it. Oh my God.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that's where Harold Ramis came from as well.
Nice.
So, well, like the what was it? Going back to like John Candy, like that was the thing, is like a lot of the stuff like for these characters and everything was kind of like they had, okay, this is Dana's neighbor, and this is kind of what happens to him. But then like a lot of the dialogue, like I think I can't remember exactly, but I think when John Candy played the German guy with the dogs in the movie Splash, that was the way that he was going to play Louis Tully in Ghostbusters. And Ivan Reitman didn't like that. They were like, that doesn't really work and stuff. So he left, and then they brought in Rick Moranis, and Rick Moranis is like, yeah, he's just a geek. Like, I'm just going to play like a dorky little, he's just like a little geek and everything. And they're like, sweet, let's do it. and then that's how it worked.
So no little German boy, but geeky guy is fine.
Exactly.
Gotcha. That's so weird. It's so weird how that process worked too. It's like normally it's like you think of movies. It's like, okay, there's a script. There's these set characters, and like in this case, it's I have this character that I want to play for this part. No, I don't like it. Okay, I'm leaving. All right, what do you got? I'm gonna play it this way. Cool, do it.
You'd be shocked at how often that is how that goes.
I probably
Especially
would
at
be
that-
shocked.
Honestly, especially at that time period and like the way that they made movies and stuff then, yeah, that actually happened a surprising bit. Especially when like, okay, I mean, let's be honest, like, yeah, we're looking at like all these, kind of schlubby middle-aged people that were, they're really funny and stuff, but it's like, yeah, these were the movie stars. These were the people that, they put butts in seats.
That's crazy
so
too, yeah.
like, yeah, exactly. Nowadays we got like these like handsome Ryan Reynolds-y types and stuff, and then back then it was like your weird drunk uncle who's sold you a bag of pot for the first time. Those are what the movie stars look like.
Yep. Weirdly enough, Paul Rudd looked exactly like he does now during the first filming of the original Ghostbusters. He's played an extra in the original Ghostbusters. If you look real hard, you'll see him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yep. He looks exactly the same, except he has eyeliner on.
Right. Yeah.
Because it was the 80s.
Yeah.
Watch it. Tell me I'm wrong.
Okay.
Everybody out there listening, watch it again. I'm telling you. Ghostbusters, get a hold of me. I'm giving you free views right now. Free views. I don't think that's how movies work.
No, not especially not nowadays.
But back to Afterlife, like I will say that I liked the fact that like they got it, out of New York. That it was like kind of the them doing like the small town thing, and like I loved the characters, like the scene. Like honestly, I think it was like the stuff that ended up bugging me. It didn't really outweigh the stuff I liked. It was kind of like it was almost like a 50-50. That's why I'm kind of still about it. But I still say I enjoyed the movie. But I mean, like you got the scenes with EB and Podcast where like just the two of them, that was beautiful. Like they worked so well together. And even the one scene, I can't remember. I don't remember the exact context. But there's like that one bit where it's just the two of them. I think they're like walking on the side of the road, but they had Elmer Bernstein's basically the piano music, like the Elmer Bernstein's Ghostbusters theme from the first one was playing, and like as soon as I heard that music, I'm like, this is so fucking perfect. Like it was wonderful and stuff. And then at the end when like, and that was the thing too, like when the old guys showed up at the end, like the entire tone of the movie changed and stuff. And it was like, okay, we had this kind of like, it had its funny moments and stuff, but it was like a different type of funny. And then all of a sudden the old guys show up, and then it was like they just immediately go into like immediate wisecracks and everything. Bill Murray's Bill Murraying as hard as he can, and
he's getting old. It's not as easy as it used to be to Bill Murray.
When my friend Alethea, like she and I went to see the movie, and when we were on our way there, I teased her a little bit, and I said, like, will you hold my hand during the scary parts? And she said, are there really scary parts in here? And I said, have you seen what Bill Murray looks like lately?
Roasted.
I got to get him in where I can.
I mean, there's a reason why he got shot in Zombieland. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it was very convincing.
Yeah, oh God.
He wasn't even that they took his makeup off for that scene.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah, what scene? They actually shot him. Oh.
Right.
No one will ever believe you.
Yeah, exactly. See, that's why I'm like, okay, we can't get too far of this because, like, one of our houses, he's gonna break in, and then that's gonna be the last thing we hear.
No. The last
you're
thing
gonna wake up in the middle of the night with Bill Murray standing over you, and that's the last thing you'll hear. No one.
Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it.
You got Murrayed.
Well, if you don't hear from me, I want you to spread the story.
Yeah.
If right after this podcast release, one of us disappears, we know what happened. No one will ever believe us, but we'll know what happened.
Right. I will have to say that for Afterlife, I definitely enjoyed those two as well, Phoebe and Podcast. I really think that they tried too hard to push other things into it. If I'm going to find a criticism for that movie, they tried too hard to make it. You know what? That's what it was. I think they tried too hard. Oh man, I can't believe I'm going to say this. To make it relatable to everyone, except for apparently, like, no, never mind. Everybody. You got the kids.
Yeah.
They got them in there, which I think that they could have just left them and let that. I think the whole tone of the movie should have been like, they were the Ghostbusters, they're finding all the shit, but no one believes them. None of the adults believe them because they're kids. And I think that would have sent a strong message, especially in the face of, there's ghosts. Who believes in ghosts? Anyways. But then you had the what?
Oh no, I was just agreeing with you. I just said, yeah, that's honestly, like, that's kind of what I was saying too, like, about like the tone changing, because it had that like consistent tone and everything with it, of it being kind of like almost a kids movie, or at least like it was about the the kids and everything, and then like just by virtue of like the original Ghostbusters showing up for like that last 5 minutes, like it instantly kind of just overshadows and stuff. And I think it's almost that like you kind of could do a new Ghostbusters movie without like the old guys at all, but at the same time it's like you still kind of get that pop from the older fans and everything that have been like screaming their faces off about wanting to see the old guys one last time for the last 20 years.
Right.
So,
and I hate to say it, but that voice got a whole lot louder after 2016. Which, not in a good way either. Like, people got way too upset about the entire female Ghostbusters team and about how much they wanted the original Ghostbusters back, and for all the wrong reasons. And I feel like this movie definitely did a lot of pandering to that crowd.
Yes, very much so.
Which I will say, like, I'm a big nostalgia buff, and I feel like that mindset kind of feeds into that. But I like new shit too. You know what I mean? It's
like,
weird.
And it's weird, but I feel personally like at the same time, there's like you can have it be like, okay, well, we're gonna make it kind of like the original. Like, okay, Dozier's coming back, and it's this, and it's Egon's granddaughter finding the gear and all that stuff. It's like, okay, that's cool. So it's like, okay, well, this is how the Ghost, it's kind of why, like, for me, it shot itself in the foot a little bit, because it's like, okay, this is how the Gozer stuff works. So it's like, okay, we're going to get the Terror Dogs, we got to do Keymaster and, Zool shit and stuff, and there's going to be all that. Actually, and okay, quick tangent. As much as everybody was like, okay, it's so horrible about Gozer coming back and, the whole, like, plunging the world into darkness and all that stuff. But once she came back, did anybody else get the impression that her whole plan was to just sit on her ass vibing with her two dogs? Because she didn't do anything until somebody came to her.
Yeah. She
didn't do nothing. She was just vibing. She just,
Well, to be fair, though, it was nighttime at the time, right?
Okay, yeah, it was nighttime.
So I mean, it could have been like we could have waited 12 hours if the sun didn't come up. It's like, oh, okay, we have a problem.
Okay, that becomes an issue. But beforehand, I mean, she's just vibing with her dogs and stuff until, the kids showed up and everything.
Right. But no, definitely.
Yeah, because there was like, I mean, you can do kind of the balance of like, okay, it makes sense. Egon took all the stuff and took it all to the farmhouse and everything. Okay, so that's where all the gear is. So of course they're gonna find that, and then they had the cute little nods of like, okay, they had the collection of molds and stuff that was just they panned over, and you just saw like that quick thing. It wasn't a big deal, but then it's like, okay, then they have to find the crunch bar in the pocket of the uniform, and get a nice big close up of that, or like the Twinkie falling out of the damn glove box of Ecto 1 for no other reason than like, hey, it's a Twinkie. And it's
think the biggest offender were the tiny Stay Puft Marshmallow Men.
No.
Look, I understand that you
Okay,
liked
well,
it,
let him-
and I understand that you had fun. Okay, but why was the big Stay Puft Marshmallow Man there in the first place in the first movie? It's because they chose the form of their destructor, and someone thought of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. In the new one, who thought of fucking Stay Puft? And all of a sudden, there's just a bunch of little Stay Puffs for no reason.
Can I point out a bigger injustice in that movie?
Okay.
I'm just saying, I believe there's
say-
probably a bigger injustice, but my point was, I think that was the biggest offender of nostalgia for nostalgia's sakes. Nostalgia for nostalgia's sake was the tiny Stay Puft Marshmallow Men.
I don't know if they were if it was so much nostalgia, but I will say this with my degree in make believe science. No, okay, let Brad finish ranting. Yeah, and then he turns his mic back on. You got it out of your system.
Yeah.
It was piggybacking off the previous manifestation because Dozer entered our world in the form of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. So, and the fact that like they kind of got away with doing like those. No, they were kind of cute, but also to me personally, they were creepy as shit because they were sitting there like roasting each other, and they were all gleeful all the time. And there was, what was it? I think at least one of them got like it was either a toothpick or like a roasting spork or something. Like just goes right through it, and it just kind of just like and it's perfectly happy the whole time. Just like they were, I think, unintentionally like creepy.
Yeah, if you were gonna do them, don't get me wrong, I think they were done right. I just think we should have had a different destructor. I think that could have been a cool scene to where the kids got to pick the form of the destructor unintentionally, and we got something new other than Stay Puft.
No, you're right. You're right. But I think if they did do that, I think we could still have the little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men, just for cuteness sake. And then they do the whole...
That was not for cuteness sake, it was for merch sake. They did that to sell tiny little Stay Puft Marshmallow Men.
Is there a difference?
Cute merch.
Have you seen a Disney film, sir?
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man and Porgs are one for one.
See, there you go.
They exist for the same reason.
That's true.
Hang on the back of my car.
But I will say I will say the biggest offense, not in your definition, the biggest injustice of the movie. So Egon, right? He goes to this farmhouse, right? He's living his life. He's trying to do whatever he's doing. Yeah, sure. People don't believe him. He's off doing whatever. He is drowning in debt and barely surviving. But he has Janine, who is essentially his financial person who is supposed to be keeping control of his finances, and then his multi-millionaire friend who just let him drown, essentially.
Well, that was, I mean, okay, yeah, that's another issue that I had with the movie is that, like, I think, honestly, if it would have worked better if they'd cut that opening scene, like, at the very beginning. Like, it would have been cool as, like, a Blu-ray special feature, but I felt like that opening scene of him, he got in the truck and stuff, where he had the trap and everything, and trying to get back to the farmhouse and stuff. I feel like if they had cut that and just started with the family, and then it being a little bit more of a mystery of what was going on and everything, I think it would have, the whole, like, what the hell happened to Egon would have, and I think it would have worked better instead of just like kind of throwing right in the opening of the movie that like, oh, Egon was right, and basically everyone's going to be a dick about it for like the next hour and a half. Like everyone's going to be shitty to Egon until like the very end when they find, when the Tupac hologram of him shows up and everybody's going to be sad. That's I can't even take credit for that. That was, I think it was Honest Trailers is the one that called it the Tupac hologram of Harold Ramis. Which is so damn accurate. That did honestly bug me and stuff. Was just the whole like, it felt like especially because of like the beginning and stuff. It was like it felt like they were being like unnecessarily shitty about Egon. But like I think they had just cut that out, and it was sort of that like, okay, yeah, we know how movies work, so obviously he's going to end up being right. But if it had been like, okay, yeah, your grandpa was this weird guy and da-da-da, and we kind of know, like, oh, that's okay, that was Egon. But, like, if they had said, like, yeah, there were these other, temples and stuff that, that supposedly maybe Gozer was coming back. But everyone we looked into, it turned out to be a dead end and it wasn't anything. But then Egon said he found another one and swore up and down, no, this one was going to be the real deal. And it's like, and then he stole all our stuff and we haven't talked to him in 10 years and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, that sucks. But I mean, it's kind of understandable because it was like, yeah, it was. I mean, that what was it? That first line when she called Ray at the shop and first mentioned about like Egon Spangler and Ray, had to like tell Egon Spangler he can rot in hell, and then she tells him that like, oh yeah, he just. It was like, and coming. I mean, like, and thinking about like the fact that coming from Ray, who was like the ridiculously nice guy of the Ghostbusters, and like him being that hurt about it. I think, like, honestly, if it had been more like, oh, holy shit, like Egon, like, kind of like broke the team up because of this, and I think it would have worked better from like, a storytelling standpoint and like just within the movie and stuff. Instead it kind of coming across to like, we're all going to be like really shitty to Harold Ramis for like an hour and a half, and then we're going to talk about how awesome he was for the last bit.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah. And that was actually, and the other thing too was like the ending, not the ending, but like I think like the third act felt weirdly rushed. Like everything else, like the pacing of the movie, the build up and everything, and all like the character moments was like, it just had a really nice flow to it and stuff. And then all of a sudden it felt like, hey, we only have 70 million, but we're still using like the super expensive special effects and we're running out. So we got to like wrap this shit up real quick.
No, you're absolutely right on that. I will say that I wouldn't be surprised. I just had to look it up to confirm.
Okay.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Afterlife was originally a 3-hour movie. Because it's like almost exactly 2 hours now.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's like 2 hours and 4 minutes. So it's like, okay, that makes... So there's like less than 2 hours of movie proper, and then the rest is like probably credits, Okay. So I can almost guarantee you, because it seems like movies nowadays are moving more towards the 3-hour movie mark. But... Yeah. I also think that, again, in their effort to pander to everybody, let everybody relate, like I was saying before, you got the kids, the teenagers, the adults, middle-aged people, and then now the old people. All, they want to squeeze all that shit in there to make all of them relevant and all of them main characters of this movie. Why don't we just make it a 2-hour movie so the kids and the old people can sit through it too?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and honestly, too, like... I mean, it's the same thing kind of had happened with what was the Rise of Skywalker. How like that was honestly one of my big problems. Actually, really, what my only big problem with that was just the fact that like the pacing felt so weird and like,
especially right there towards the end.
Oh God, yeah. The end is just like they're just fucking. They just start cooking and just rush through so much stuff, and it's like. If they just had like a couple more passes of editing and stuff like that, it's like easy fixes. But Disney investors, they had to get it out by Christmas.
Yep.
So, yeah.
And I don't think, and at that point, Star Wars wasn't the potential gold mine that it is now. But right. we'll talk all about that in the Star Wars episode.
You're gonna have to have me back on for a Star Wars episode, aren't you?
I'm sure we could probably rant for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
Well, Baron, you and I both, when we get going on, start playing point counterpoint about The Last Jedi, and I'm pretty sure we could just do a 2-hour episode with the two of us. Just have Rick put a microphone between us and dive for cover.
Right. I hate being that guy. Talking about like the Last Jedi, I hate being the guy that's just like, oh, allow me to talk shit about this character for like 8 hours. Because it's like, I am a firm believer of, if you like it, it's a good movie.
Yeah.
I may not like it, but if you like it, it's a good movie. Fucking run with it. Don't worry about my opinion. Damn. Yeah,
exactly. Just like case in point, the one we're talking about now. Like, and that's okay. Right. And actually, this is another thing that like I haven't gotten into yet. But for me, the fact that, okay, as much of a Ghostbusters nerd as I am, the fact that, okay, they made a new Ghostbusters movie. They have the old guys in it. It's actually funny and all that good stuff. But I saw it once, and I feel no need or desire to ever see it again. That feels so insanely wrong to me. That's like I literally have difficulty wrapping my mind around that. Like, this should be like, okay, I thought Answer the Call was pretty good. I saw that twice in the theater because it was a Ghostbusters movie, and I went and had a good time and stuff. Like, I saw that twice in the theater, and I own the DVD. Okay, I think I own the DVD. I should own a DVD. I gotta go check. But regardless, yeah. And with this new one, like, I saw it, I had a good time. Luckily we saw it on like a Tuesday, so it was just me and my friend. I think there have been another couple in the theater, or we might have even had the theater to ourselves. But when we saw the movie, okay, when they did the "Are you a god" bit, I stupid laughed.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't even, like, I had like zero control. It just immediately just complete bellow stupid laugh.
I rented it from Redbox, and when Tiff and I were sitting down and watching it, when it got to that part, I had to pause it. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss so much of this movie if I don't pause it and have my little laughing fit right here.
Exactly. Like that. It was, I mean, what, a 30-year-old, basically a brick joke, like with a 30-year-old punchline, like just all that. Like, it was just, yeah. I can't even say anything else about it. It was just, as soon as Aykroyd just like immediately just did that like kind of look on his face, it just immediately just guffawed, stupid laugh.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
I think that, I mean, we definitely have been waxing poetic about Afterlife for quite a while. Yeah. I want to talk about the movie that I'm sure all of us are going to have opinions on that are going to rub the right people the wrong way. So specifically, Rick brought it up, and I think he wanted it to go that direction for a second. But the 2016 Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah.
So as you know, a lot of people hated that movie. Most of those people that hated that movie probably never even watched it.
I'm an adult virgin.
I will say, okay, I will say this, that I think that a lot of people that didn't like it are, and this is the same argument that I've used, because I liked the 2014 remake of RoboCop, and yeah, remember that? Yeah, I'm like the only one that remembers that happened. But.
And I'll say this: I did watch it. The only reason why I probably wouldn't watch it again, because it made me feel weird.
Yeah,
like it was way more visceral with its stance on existence, and yes, it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable movie. But here's the thing: is just like that, just like with the remake of RoboCop and the remake of Ghostbusters. The worst thing that it could do is it's not the original.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and that drove people up the damn wall. Like, so many of the complaints and stuff. It wasn't even like this didn't make sense in the context of the movie. It's no, they did this, but this is what they did in the original. Why didn't they do that? And it's like, because it's not the original.
Right.
Because the original was for comedians. And the movie was basically written as they were making it in their comedic style. And then in the new one, we have 4 new comedians, and they did the movie in their comedic style, which was the best thing that they could have done with the cast that they had. Because if you take 4 comedians and try to force them into a comedic style of 4 different comedians, it's going to fall flat on its face.
Rick? I'm going to take back some of the things I've said about you.
I appreciate that.
That's it. That's good, because you said some fucked up shit.
That was too good of an opportunity. I couldn't help myself. But no, I agree, like, wholeheartedly. That's like the best summation that you could possibly have of it. And honestly, I think that's part of why the 2016 Ghostbusters worked as well as it did, when they were allowed I mean, part of it too is like the studio basically screwed them over because they were just expecting that it was going to be a hit on the name alone, and there's chunks of the story that got edited out, and I hate trying to say it, edited out and stuff that have like popped up on like deleted scenes and stuff and things on the internet and stuff, and then it's like they had actually a really good story and a really good hook with like the characters and stuff, like the friendship between was Abby and Aaron, Melissa McCarthy's character, and Kristen Wiig, especially Kristen Wiig, her whole character thing was the fact that like, okay, she always knew ghosts were real and nobody fucking believed her, and it's basically like, and she's essentially like traumatized by that, and like her whole arc is like trying to get comfortable with like, okay, she's found a few people that actually do believe her stuff in the other Ghostbusters, but it's like, yeah, all the scenes with like, there's scenes with like her, I think it was supposed to be her boyfriend or whatever that shows up that's like more or less gaslighting her, like, oh, you're doing that stupid ghost stuff again, stuff like that. And then like when she has that relapse because like the city doesn't want to believe them before the big finale kicks in and stuff, like, yeah, there's like all these like really good, really emotional story beats and stuff that ended up getting cut out of the movie that I think like if they had been left in instead of focusing, because people were like they're like obviously improvising, and it's like, yeah, they're letting some of those scenes go on like way too long, like say the joke, get the joke out, get to the next story beat, like it's pull from the original, because that's what they did, and it worked. You got to keep it, as even though you're making a comedy, you're still telling a story, and you got to keep the story moving.
Exactly.
Yeah, the one criticism I will give to Ghostbusters 2016 is it is dumb. It's stupid. I mean, but it's also funny because it's stupid, and it's funny because it's dumb, and I like dumb, stupid, funny movies. Like, it's one of the reasons I liked it. I feel like if they had reined it in too much, like I said, I don't think it would have worked. Like, I think they had to do dumb, stupid stuff in order to make it work.
Yes. I mean, especially with the actresses that they had in it, the kind of comedy that they bring to the table, they're all fucking amazing. All of them. And they're hilarious, and they brought that energy to the movie. I mean, like, the biggest hit that everybody didn't like was the fact that it wasn't the first movie, but I think that that's its biggest strength as well. They didn't try to recreate it. They're like, this is, and especially in this world of variants now, where all variants are just wiping across the board. You got the MCU, you got the DC, you got variants of everything just popping up everywhere, and it's like, why can't these just be variants? These are the people who stepped up in this world and became Ghostbusters.
Yeah. And actually, it's funny that you bring that up, though, because they actually have done that in the comics.
Really?
They've done they've done full on like crossover with the 80s Ghostbusters, the cartoon Ghostbusters, the 2016 Ghostbusters. I think even the Extreme Ghostbusters popped in and stuff. But yeah, they've done this whole thing of like basically all these different like, timelines or universes or whatever the hell they are calling them and stuff. But yeah, they've had like all the different groups. And even like they started with just like the one story of the Answer the Call Ghostbusters and the 80s guys teaming up and stuff. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's basically like, there's a Ghostbuster for every pot, pretty much. It's like you could basically just have like, okay, which is the one that you like?
Speaking of which version of the universe does the Detroit Ghostbusters exist in? And for anyone who hasn't seen it, Detroit Ghostbusters will be linked in the description below.
Oh hell. I wasn't gonna escape that, am I?
No, not at all.
Okay. It's the... Oh, dang. Actually, yeah. Baron, you're gonna love this next bit. It's in line... It was written in line with the first two movies. Because, like, even... Because even in the first movie, when Bill Murray has that little... when they are... I think, like, just before they buy the firehouse, and Bill Murray's got that little line about, like, the franchise rights will, make us rich beyond our wildest dreams. Has that little line of stuff. But
It's what the NES and Super NES video game are based on too.
right
Is that one line, the franchise rights?
Yeah, the what you call it? The like unspoken rule with like the fan films, especially at that time, because I mean, this was what was it? The movie I put it out on YouTube in 2013, so it was like so it was 2000, so it was 2012 when we were filming and stuff, and I had actually written it a few years like before. I want to say when I was in broadcasting school, like I think 2009, 2010 was when I was writing it. But yeah, at the time, especially the unwritten rule with the Ghostbusters fan film was basically like, you were a franchisee and stuff. And I told you we'd get to this, Brad. And because it also came from the Ghostbusters International, the tabletop role-playing game that they had created for Ghostbusters. Like that was actually, it was called Ghostbusters International, and that was kind of the premise of the game. Was you were either starting up or you were running your own Ghostbuster franchise, and part of the game, in addition to doing the actual, catching ghosts and stuff. And actually, one of the cool things that they did in the game that I kind of wish they would have done with some of the other media was they played up the paranormal investigation. Like it wasn't just ghosts. There were like demons. I think there was one module where there were like time travelers or like a wizard or something. Like it was just all the crap across the board, and the Ghostbusters were the ones that had to deal with it. Yeah, so that's even in the fan film. Like we mentioned Ghostbusters International from the tabletop game. And yeah, like one of the other things that the game did, besides the typical catching ghosts and all that stuff, was you would get like bills or you would get fees from the home office and everything, and it was basically like, yeah, it had this like almost kind of bureaucratic, like they're trying to squeeze extra money out of you, and you would like try to find ways of weaseling out of it, or like having to like pay the home office and crap like that, which actually I kind of worked into the movie a little bit with making a bunch of gags of like the home office basically doing the bare minimum to the characters starting up their Ghostbuster franchise. So
right, Amazon Ghostbusters International.
Yep.
Let's just go ahead and put this on my wish list.
There you go.
All right, yeah, that fucking game sounds amazing.
Yeah, and it's honestly the what was it in the 2009 video game? I think some of the mechanics in that were taken from the game or the tabletop game and stuff, where it was like you'd have to wear down the ghost, like basically knock down the ghost hit points and stuff. Then you would be able to like capture it and then get it into the trap, so that they could they had like that mechanic for the tabletop game, so that it was more of like you'd have to do more like dice rolling and making a little bit more than just like, okay, I point the gun at it and then I laser lasso it and then we're done.
Yeah, the 2009 video game, I don't think they could have made a better Ghostbusters video game for a Ghostbusters fan. I mean, you got to be a Ghostbuster alongside the original Ghostbusters. You got to play around with all their toys in the locations that happened in the movie. You got to catch those ghosts. I mean, you want to talk about tickling your nostalgia, Brad, if you've never played the 2009 video game, it's 100% fan service.
It is, but it's also the good fan service where like it does the remember when this happened, but then it ends up like expanding and then kind of like breaking off and stuff. Like they do, like there's the one level where you go back to the library from the first movie, and it's like you spend some time going through the library and all this stuff happens, and then you end up like in like getting transported to like another world, or this like ghost world version of the library where it's all like weird and stuff. So it's like they do the fan servicey stuff, but then they also keep it interesting. It's not pandering.
Yes.
It doesn't feel pandering and stuff, but yeah, there is one small thing that I did kind of wish that they would have done differently in the 2009 one. I didn't care that it was like, your guy, Mr. Guy Rookie, instead of like, I would have liked it if in each of the like scenes, because up until the very end they always had some contrived reason for like one of the Ghostbusters to not be in that scene. I think it would have just been cool with like, being like, okay, we're gonna focus on story, and it's basically like a reskin of your character, but like you just play as a different Ghostbuster in that scene and stuff. So it's like, one level or one scene you're controlling Egon, another one you're Ray, and doing that and stuff instead of like
that could have been cool. And each character had like different abilities or stuff like that. Yeah, that could have been cool.
Yeah. Or even just like, either doing the different abilities thing to like add variety, or even it like literally just being like a reskin. Like, okay, at this point in the story, like Ray and Egon go this way and Peter and Winston go another way, and the game has you control Egon and then Ray's with you, and like it just kind of goes like that. I think it was like up until the final level was when they had your guy and all four of the Ghostbusters. And the game has visible lag. I don't know if because they did the remaster, but I know in the original version, like there's some time where there's a lot of stuff going on the screen and the game starts kind of chugging a bit. So it's like you can kind of tell that like they kept editing out, finding reasons for, there's only one or two guys in this scene because if we have more with all this other shit going on,
all the particle effects and the proton packs, and you can definitely tell they were pushing the limits of the 2009 hardware when they made the game.
Yeah, but all in all, bottom line though, it was still a very, very fun game. So
it's definitely a game that I had on my radar. It's definitely something I wanted to play. However, I'm not. Especially like back then, I wasn't the richest of fellows, and I didn't have the latest console, and didn't have the money to drop what was it, $40 on a game back then, $50 maybe.
50 sounds about right because spoiler alert, I think that actually was the last game that I bought brand new and paid full price for.
Also,
it was at least around that time.
It had a limited release, like they only made so many copies of it. And it's one of those games that like never really went down in price, even pre-owned, because of how limited it was. So even if you wanted to buy it like 10 years later, it was still pretty close to full price and hard to find. Like I would regularly go to GameStops and see if they had it pre-owned in stock. And they just wouldn't. They just wouldn't have it in stock. I didn't actually play it until the remaster, and I played it on PlayStation 4.
Oh, wow. Well, actually, yeah, that makes sense. I think that was one of the last games. Oh, let's see. I'm trying to get my timeline down here, but I think that actually was one of the last games that I pre-ordered. So, yeah.
Ghostbusters, the video game remastered, is now on Steam for $24.99 for anybody that wants to rush out there and get it or put on their wish list.
Or buy it for Brad.
It's on my wish list.
There you go. While you're on there, if you're being so generous, buy me Darkest Dungeon, damn it.
Is that on my wish list too?
That's totally something we should do when the Steam summer sales come around, is just post all the guild masters and guild members Steam wish lists.
I actually already own it. I think I can let you borrow it if you wish.
Damn. Okay.
Is that a thing you can do on Steam now?
I thought so.
Well, damn. Okay.
I'll have to look into it. I thought you could let other people, like your friends on Steam, borrow your games.
Huh.
But we'll see.
Neat.
Yeah. Well, damn.
Yeah, I think when I bought it, what is it now? Like $24.99. I think when I bought it was 75% off or some shit like that. And I was like, well, I can't pass that up. So
yeah, exactly.
We should actually do a whole Steam episode where we just talk about our fucking wish list and stuff that's coming out. And well, why don't we do that? Yeah, put that on. That's a good episode.
Writing it down now.
That's a good episode. That is a good episode.
And we could release it right before the summer sale.
That is a good episode.
Yep. We can talk about the 200 plus something hours that I've got logged into Star Trek Online.
Yeah, and the
best free game I've ever played.
and like the 250 hours I have on Honey Pop. I mean, wait. What was that? Hold on, let me go into my library real quick and name another game. Cyberpunk 2077. That's what I meant.
The other game with nudity.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, but Cyberpunk makes you work for it.
Yeah, it does.
You can get it during character creation.
Yeah, it does.
That's character creation. That's taking the easy way out. You can get that on Guitar Hero or no Rock Band, whatever that one was.
There was nudity in Rock Band?
Yeah.
Good imagination.
With a good, okay. All right. So since I can't find
any character creator has nudity in it if you believe hard enough.
Since I can't find a decent segue, I gotta say the first two movies came out during an interesting time of merchandising.
Right. Me Elmo.
So there was a lot of Ghostbusters shit that I remember having as a kid. Did you guys have a favorite piece of obscure Ghostbusters merchandising?
I had two things. One of them was like this little gun, and it had these cork foam things, and you put it in the end, and you pop it, and it shoots out.
Yeah, I had that as well. Actually, I had that up until a few years ago. I took a bunch of my old toys to shop here in Columbus and stuff. Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the name of that thing was. They actually
I can't remember
have
either.
they like remade it, or because they like redone a bunch of the old toys and stuff. That's actually one of them. I think like they maybe like changed it because the original was black. I think the new one might be like blue or something. But yeah, they have a new the like ecto popper or something. Like it's that was the name of like everything.
I think that's what it was. I think that is what it was. Was it? Is that what it was?
It's something like that. Like everything was either like slime or ecto or
something.
whatever.
Oh, that's right. And all that Ghostbusters stuff came out at like the time of all the great like slime stuff. That green slime that had that nice smell to it. There it is. Ecto popper.
This is actually just the container for the ectoplasm. And I actually used it to hold my guitar picks. What's Brad giving the sour face for?
No, it was not. Oh, it was called the Ghost Popper.
Ghost Popper, okay.
The Ghost Popper.
Which is another working title for the original movie, Ghost Popper.
Yeah.
There you go. Ghostly poppin' daddies.
Those the goggles. Oh, those are so cool.
Yeah.
They're all made of like clear plastic and stuff. I didn't get the cool stuff.
We would get crucified if we didn't mention Ecto Cooler.
Ecto Cooler was good. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't even care that it was a merchandising thing completely.
That's actually the only reason that I originally tried it and stuff was because it was like, oh, okay, this is the Slimer juice.
It was delicious Slimer juice.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing.
The only other piece of Ghostbusters toys, like merchandise stuff that I had, was apparently the Kenner Classics. No, it wasn't a classic then, but the real Ghostbusters Bug-Eye Ghost figure, where he had like a big giant eye in his forehead, and you hit his back.
You mean the one that was in Ghostbusters Afterlife?
Yes.
Yeah, that was They did that on purpose. That was him.
Geeked the fuck out when I saw that. The fuck out when I saw that.
Yeah. I had... this is basically what I have left here in frame, my Stay Puft Marshmallow Man figure. This is the original. He's all, like, marked up and dirty as hell, but... but, yeah, I had a ton of, like, I mean, the figure, like, the guys, and a bunch of the monsters and stuff, and even the, like, what they call them, just like the play weapons and stuff, the proton pack that had that trigger that made that horrific grinding noise when you would like, it made its own sound effects, but it was just like this noise when you would hit. You remember? Yeah, if you had that toy, you know the sound as soon as you hit that trigger, and it just made that horrible like grinding noise. And even had the they didn't call it the slime blower, but it was I can't remember what the toy's name was, but it was the slime blower from the second movie. I had the toy version of that, but the thing is you could probably look it up online, but it had the gun, and what was supposed to be the slime shooting out was pink and shockingly phallic for a child's toy. So my parents luckily did not realize that until after they had bought me the thing. But it was awkward nonetheless.
Oh, good old toy companies putting out horrifically phallic toys.
Oh, well, hell, it was the 80s and 90s. I mean, how many toys that was like, you'd get some guy with like fire powers and he was basically a Zippo lighter inside him that made the sparks and shit. Like, how many toys were like that? They were basically just...
I swear to God that you could, if you wanted to, you could beat somebody to death with the Voltron toys.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
die-cast metal. And
yeah,
it's like, yeah, if I wanted to kill you, I could with this toy.
It's a very unique feeling getting hit in the head from across the room with a die-cast car. Like that is something that kids of today will never know, the feeling of getting that die-cast car bouncing off their head.
I'm just now thinking of something.
Uh-oh.
We complain about, like, you know, like, let's say Rick and I, who have children, small children that play with plastic, let's just say Legos, and we step on them and we feel that is the pinnacle of pain. Can you imagine what our fucking parents went through with these die-cast fucking toys with the spikes and everything like that? And no wonder we got our asses beat when we didn't put our toys up.
Yeah.
Because they're nursing a laceration on their foot.
Right.
Jeez.
Yeah, the old toy. Yeah, my parents. I had some antique toys and stuff that I had gotten from my parents and grandparents, and it was like, it's a toy dump truck. It's cool because it's like, you know, a good size, like, you know, 1.5 feet or whatever, and that fucker is nothing but metal and stuff. If you don't trip over it. You break your foot over it and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
If you're lucky, you'll just fall down.
It's a shin breaker for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, who would have? Oh man, yeah. I feel bad. I feel bad for our parents sometimes.
My weird one was at like the corner store where I grew up. They sold this Slimer candy that looked like it was in a toothpaste tube, and you would like squeeze it out and it'd be like green slime, but I'd get it over and over again because it was one of those corner stores where they bought something and they like bought like the same size box that like Walmart would buy. But like, of course, there's only like 4 people who shop there regularly. And I'm the only person who's buying the Slimer candy. So like I bought it there for years. But you'd squeeze a little bit of the Slimer candy out and eat it. Oh, that was delicious.
Yep.
Wait, now I'm assuming if I tasted it now, I'd be like, God, that is way too sweet. Like, I would hate it. But, like, back when I was a kid, man, I would have brushed my teeth with that stuff that came in that toothpaste tube.
Yep.
That and it wasn't Ghostbusters, but the bubble gum that came in the toothpaste tube, where you squeezed it out and it was just mushy, and you had to hurry up and chew it to get it to the gum consistency. But by the time you got it to gum consistency, no flavor. So. Oh,
It's just a tube of disappointment.
yeah. That's also nickname for my. You know what? Never mind.
Yeah.
So
Now, that one I'll believe.
emotional damage. All right.
Childhood trauma.
Whoa.
As you
I
do.
hope people weren't calling that the tube of disappointment when I was a child. That's traumatizing on a whole different level.
Right. They're kind of jumping the gun and getting judgy, aren't they?
It's like, wow, it's supposed to be small. I said when I was 25.
Right, it was one of those weird, like, carry dirty pillows kind of things, where it's just like, oh no, it's gross, you have to be ashamed of it. They're all gonna laugh at you.
Right,
It's not
yeah.
that small, what the hell?
That's why I burned down my prom, because I have a tiny penis. Anyways, which is actually where a lot of the violence from white men come from.
Mom?
No, small penises.
Yeah. Also true.
Can confirm.
Can confirm. Wow, we went off on a tangent, didn't we?
We've got 45 minutes of good Ghostbusters material and another 45 minutes of us talking about every other goddamn thing we possibly can. But it's
Welcome
all
to
fun.
Casters Guild.
Welcome. Yeah, we dropped.
You've got 2 episodes. You've got Ghostbusters and you got a mixed bag. So there
Right.
you go.
Well, I think sometime in season 2, we kind of dropped the format of, okay, we got to stick to this topic hard.
Are you kidding me? We dropped that like episode 3, season 1.
I'm trying to give us a little credit here.
Yeah. Besides, we basically, when I was on here last time for the Dungeons and Dragons thing, we did stick to Dungeons and Dragons pretty vehemently. So
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. Well, I think the best thing though about Ghostbusters though is that it can break off into tangents like that because it's spanned across so many generations, and it's like we can talk about 80s toys being able to kill people, and we can talk about the newer generations not liking things, and it's crazy. It's crazy how long it's been around, and still wildly popular. Wildly popular.
yeah, that's actually something that like I don't think I really realized how popular it was until like when the 2009 game came out, because it was like something that I grew up enjoying it and stuff, but like a lot of my friends and stuff weren't that into it or everything, or it was like it was something like I got teased over liking when I was in elementary school, and it was just kind of like and then you get older and it was like, okay, I started getting into like Star Wars and other stuff, so it was just something that kind of faded into the background and stuff, and it was just like, oh yeah, it's this movie that's I liked and stuff, and I would watch occasionally because it put me in a good mood and what have you. But the game, like the hype for the game started up, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, apparently Ghostbusters has like been a big deal for like ever. It's like, oh, okay, and then because that was like I saw the because enjoyed the game and everything, but then it was like I started discovering like the fan films and like that like a lot of the cosplayers and everything, and I was just like, oh, holy crap.
Well, I used to make a joke about how, like, in the second movie, the Ghostbusters show up and everybody wants He-Man, and then Ghostbusters stayed in popularity, but then He-Man fell off. But now I can't make that joke anymore because, now we've got the new He-Man series and things like that. But that was the joke I used to make, was just like, it was way more popular than He-Man years later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And did you guys know in that scene, the kid that tells Dan Aykroyd, "My dad says you guys are full of crap"? That's Jason Reitman, the director of Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Did not know that.
Yeah, you can kind of see it a little bit if you go back now, knowing it and watching it. You can kind of see, but yeah, I think he was like 15 or something. But yeah, that's Ivan Reitman's son, who ended up directing Ghostbusters Afterlife. Is the kid that told Ray, "My dad says you guys are full of crap."
Which is wonderfully meta in and of itself.
Oh God, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Especially like if the guys didn't know he was going to say that, and like they didn't know he was an extra in the show, or he wasn't supposed to be an extra in the show. He just wandered onto set. My dad thinks you're full of crap. What the fuck, man?
We were rolling on that, right?
That's how you get Dan Aykroyd. He leans in like real close and says, "Lucky you said that to me, not Ramus. So fuck you up." And then Harold Ramis is just standing up just off camera, and he just cracks his neck.
Oh man, this episode's really got me wanting to watch a bunch of '80s movies now. I want to watch Stripes.
Yeah, it's on my Netflix queue. I've been meaning to watch it. I've actually been on kind of a weird like Netflix binge for like the last week, like just watching a ton of movies that like I haven't seen, like I haven't ever got to sit down and watch, and just like revisiting a bunch of '90s movies. Like freaking watched Starship Troopers for the first time in a while, like last night.
Wow, that's a throwback, yeah.
Oh God, yeah. Well, they have like a whole section on Netflix now of just 90s movies, but I mean they've got like Starship Troopers, was it Addams Family, which oh God, I loved that when I was a kid. That and the sequel.
Way to make me feel old to make an entire section labeled 90s movies the way like they used to have a section labeled 80s movies, and just, oh god.
Don't listen to the classic rock channel.
No, that's the whole reason I don't listen to the radio at all. I'll stick to my Spotify and my YouTube music playlists. Thank you very much. I don't need like Blink 182 to come on the classic rock station.
Yeah, or when you're like in the grocery store or anything, and you're just like, "Oh God, wait! This is this song they played at prom. What the hell? What's happening?"
My daughter actually tuned me into a new genre of music that I'd never heard about.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Dad rock.
Oh,
What, Guardians of the Galaxy?
No. Yes, essentially. So like,
Yeah.
she mentioned dad rock, so I looked it up on Spotify, and like the first few, or like Africa by Toto, Piano Man, Don't Fear the Reaper, Since You've Been Gone, More Than a Feeling. It's like, god damn it.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, it's all classic rock stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically like, you know, your dad in a denim jacket working in the garage, and he's got the radio on, so.
Yeah,
anything by Ray Parker Jr. on there?
I didn't see any.
Anything or the one song that people seem to know about.
If people do seriously think that's the only song he's ever done.
I mean, dude's done, like, yeah, full albums and stuff, but... Okay, I have to ask a question now, because I just looked over on the side under the Casters Guild, and what are Titties of War?
That's from a lost episode. So you might be, for those who are wondering what Kimmie just brought up, if you join our Discord, there is a channel called Titties of War. This is a reference to something that happened in a lost episode. I'm hoping I can at least cobble together that reference eventually and release it as bonus content, so look forward to that. But if not, then it'll just be a reference lost to time, and like the channel will just be its own thing.
If anything, you know what we could do is just, you could cobble it together and then throw it into the channel itself.
Yeah.
But just like, oh, is it not there anymore? Did we get rid of it?
What are we talking about?
No, we didn't. The
Pokemon Anon?
Pokemon Anon. That's it.
Oh my god.
Pokemon Anon.
If you can't tell, I haven't been on the Discord in, like, forever, so I'm, like, playing catch-up like crazy.
If you have any outrageous Pokemon theories, go ahead and throw them in there. I mean, they have to be outrageous, though. Outrageous.
Okay. Like to the degree of, if someone asked you, oh, you believe in the moon landing? Oh, you believe in the moon? Like, that level of crazy theory, like, that's what we need in Pokemon Anon.
I have to learn about Pokemon stuff now.
I'm actually probably going to write a whole fanfic about Ash's mom and Mr. Mime.
Is he miming her or Ash's dad?
What do you mean by miming?
Yes.
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 We've been friends long enough. I know how you operate.
But
anyways, Ghostbusters, right?
Ghostbusters has seriously like permeated like a lot of culture. I mean, like you're saying, it's everything. I mean, there's an epic rap battles of history featuring the Ghostbusters. There's several SNL skits, which is kind of meta because like most of them came from SNL. Then they make SNL skits. Key and Peele did a sketch about Ray Parker Jr. making themes for other movies that he was never hired to make themes for, but he just did.
Well, it actually the Ghostbusters logo is the second most recognized symbol in the entire world. Like,
First
it's
being
only
McDonald's?
Coca-Cola, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Unless it's been updated, but yeah, the first is the Coca-Cola logo, but no, the second one is the Ghostbusters No Ghost logo.
That should say a lot, actually.
Yeah, and not in America, in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. I mean, like, I don't know how much thought got put into that logo, but it's perfect. In its simplicity, in its color choices, it's a perfect logo.
Yeah.
I'm just glad they got Ghostbusters behind it and not Ghost Smashers.
I know. That would have been a whole other beast, wouldn't it?
Is there? Hold on. Does the porn parody exist and they called it Ghost Smashers?
I don't think so. There's a couple of them.
For those of you who can't see us on camera because I only release audio, as I say that, Baron is slowly pulling up his phone, typing. He's trying to find the porn parody called Ghost Smashers.
Well, wait, did you find one?
No, but the Ghost Smashers are a group of paranormal eliminators founded by Ron Alexander in direct competition with the Ghostbusters. They offered obliteration of ghosts rather than the storage as a solution. From IDW.
Yeah, what was his name again?
Ron Alexander.
Yeah, Ron Alexander. That's the Chevy Chase guy I mentioned at the beginning.
So IDW found out about how they almost were called the Ghost Smashers, picked that shit up and ran with it, and
yeah, absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep, and that's the rival Ghostbusters and stuff. And the Ron Alexander is the guy that they modeled off of Chevy Chase. But I know there's I think
there's also a Reebok Ghost Smashers shoe.
Who is the asshole who made a Ghost Smashers t-shirt and went to a convention and asked Chevy Chase to sign it?
Oh Lord. Well, I mean, if you're gonna get Chevy Chase to flip out at you, you may as well at least earn it, right?
I understand it's not hard.
Yeah, that's what
That's what I'm told. It's not hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Chevy Chase, so.
Yeah.
Nah, not seeing any porn parodies.
Oh well, then look. Okay, Casters Guild Adult Studios has an opportunity here.
We still have to get our OnlyFans going too.
Oh Lord.
I still think that my OnlyFans I'm just gonna call my spicy link, and I'm just gonna eat hot wings on it.
That's perfect.
Yeah. Just hot fun. And I always said I would never ever do like those hot challenges just for clout. I will do it for my spicy link.
You could,
really?
if you call it the spicy link, you could eat spicy sausages. You could actually eat spicy links.
Hot damn.
All right. Do we have anything else to say about Ghostbusters?
We could play some excerpts from the porn parody I found if you want.
I thought you said there wasn't one.
No, not one called Ghost Smashers.
Oh, okay. So there is one.
There's
Let's see.
plenty of porn parodies.
There's been a couple of them. I remember when I think Ron Jeremy is in one of them because like even the actual like, which is funny because he was an extra in the original movie, but yeah, in like the scene after I think it's when the containment unit blows up and stuff. One of the crowd scenes of like the people looking up. He's like off to the side and he's like really young looking, but yeah, like once you know like, oh yeah, that's Ron Jeremy, it's one of those like you can't not see him.
That's funny.
Yeah, there's a couple of porn parodies, but the one that he was in, like even like the regular like Ghostbuster like news sites and stuff, we're talking about it being
of course.
Like, yeah, it's a porn parody, but like yeah, it's because they have to report on everything new that's happening with Ghostbusters.
I mean, Ron Jeremy's one of the only porn stars to ever be sued by Nintendo. So
Wait, what?
Yeah, because he did Super Hornio Brothers.
Oh wow.
And he was Mario.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I can see Nintendo.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's I mean, yeah, there's always been.
I'm glad they stopped because there's been some great Legend of Zelda porn parodies out there. You know what? That's all. You know what? Go ahead and put that on the docket. Put porn up there on one of the things we need to talk about.
I'm not writing that down. It's not that kind of podcast. It is that kind of podcast, but it's not that kind of podcast.
Okay, but I'm working porn parody into every single one of our episodes from now on. I'm just throwing it out there.
It won't be difficult. Rule 34 is a thing.
No. Rick, if you ever say something like that again, you never say, in regards of a porn parody, you never say it's not that difficult. You say it's not that hard.
But it is.
Rock hard, which is my porn name. It's a misnomer.
Oh.
Because remember, Tube of Disappointment. We're going back to the Tube of Disappointment.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
We got it.
Yeah.
We were there with you.
I had to explain it all. Just, So anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this episode. Ghostbusters. I don't think we've seen the last of them. I think that we've had decades of Ghostbusters content, starting out with the original movies and ending with, so far, Ghostbusters Afterlife. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a sequel, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe we get a new cartoon or TV show out of it. There is a lot of love that goes into this franchise, and despite the more toxic parts of fandom that exist in every fandom, rearing their ugly heads and trying to make something ugly out of something fun and goofy, I think that it's just going to keep going as long as it's making money for the studios at the very least. So I can't wait to see what's coming around the corner. And I know Kimmie's pretty excited. But yeah, there we go.
I am curious to see what is going to happen next because, obviously, as big a hit as Ghostbusters Afterlife has been, even on demand or the home rental sales and stuff for it, it's like multiple weeks in a row. It's been like the number one movie and stuff. So I can definitely say they're probably going to find some way to keep it going. But see, since Ivan Reitman had passed so recently, I'm really curious what the direction or what is going to kind of come of it. Because they won't. Yeah, they're definitely not going to let it like go away. But I think because him and Dan Aykroyd were kind of the ones championing it for so long and stuff, and Ivan Reitman passing away, then I'm wondering, who's going to kind of pick it up, if it's going to, what the next step, or if they're going to do like another movie, or because I know at one point, but this was back around the 2016 Ghostbusters time, that they were talking about, trying to do new animated shows and other movies and all kinds of stuff. So we'll see. Yeah, as okay as I am with the new movie, it's still always going to be something that I really enjoy, and I definitely am looking forward to seeing what they, what the next thing that they do with it is.
All right, Kimmie, if anybody likes what you had to say and they want to find you anywhere on the internet, where they can do that?
I am on Twitter. I am on TikTok and Instagram, all under Out in the Weird. If and when I'm on there and producing anything, which is usually only when I feel like it. So, yep, that's.
Oh, and also, if you like my TikToks, I appear in at least one of Kimmie's TikToks. So go check that out, and then you'll see what other badass stuff she does.
You're in like 3 of them.
I said at least one. I'm not wrong.
Okay, yeah. we still need to do that Wizard Duel one.
Yes.
That I told you about.
So all those links will be down in the description below, as well as the fan film Detroit Ghostbusters. Please give it a watch. It is worth it. Thank you very much for tuning into this episode. Find us on all the socials. Please send us an email with questions you'd like us to answer and ideas for new episodes. And also, I've got a link in there now for our featured charity. Right now, it is a charity that's very close to me because it is for my niece who is getting a colon transplant and could really use your help. So please check that out. Thank you very much once again for tuning in, and we will see you in the next one. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye. This is going to sound really good.